welcome back to my JA Physics channel. We are continuing the same JA Advanced target series. Today we are going to see very important questions related to one is the first question is something related to magnetic dipole moment. So this is very frequently asked topic in JA Advanced. So please try it once and then come back for the solution. Okay. So in this question there are 4 rods ABCD, you can see here ABCD, and each is having the mass and length m and l. Each rod is having the mass m and l. Don't think that total mass is m. So that is the one mistake usually people will do whenever rods are given. And is placed in a magnetic field which is parallel to the plane of paper. So you can say that magnetic field is on the board and it can rotate. Now loop can rotate about P and P1. P and P1 is a fixed axis and rod CD is attached with the axis. CD and AB are attached to the axis. At time is equal to 0, the angle between the plane of the loop and the magnetic field is 30 degree. So this is important. This is important statement to solve the question. The plane of the loop and magnetic field is 30 degree. That means area vector is perpendicular to plane. Area vector is perpendicular to plane because in the area vector you can say that magnetic dipole moment vector will be there. Okay, so or else you can say that you can use the right hand principle. If you curl your fingers, then thumb will give the direction of the magnetic moment, and obviously in this type of question it is very tough to imagine. Okay, so that's why always go with the area vector perpendicular to the plane of loop. So with the plane of loop, magnetic field is making angle 30. That means the angle between the M bar and B bar, okay, so if you want you can write down angle between M bar and B bar is how much? 60 degree initially at time is equal to 0. Okay, you can fix in this way. Now and point C is above the plane of paper. That means point C is out of it. You can say that it is out of the board. Okay, so O is geometrical center. Then we have to choose some things. Obviously you have to solve the 2 things. One is angular acceleration. Okay, na? So both are talking about angular acceleration and both they are talking about angular velocity. Means out of 4 options you will get 2 options correct. Maybe. Okay, that also we cannot say that. So ultimately we have to find out the 2 questions. One is angular acceleration, other one is angular velocity. To find out the angular acceleration we require the torque. Okay. So when a closed current carrying loop is placed in magnetic field, then it will experience a torque. The torque is given by torque acting on the closed loop is equal to M bar cross B bar. So what is the torque magnitude I can write down? M into B sine angle between them, sine theta. So torque is equal to I can write down I alpha. What is the M value? Magnetic dipole moment is something like in what? Current into area. Current into area of the loop. So I into L is the each side. So I can write down I into L square into B. The angle between the M bar and B bar is required. So this one I told. Okay, na? So angle between the M bar and B bar is 60. Angle between the B bar and plane is 30. So please careful with these things. Otherwise you will definitely make a mistake. Okay. So sine I can write down 60 degree. Now the question is what is the moment of inertia? If I am able to find out the moment of inertia, then first 2 options are done. Angular acceleration we can find out. So how to find out the I value about this axis? I value about this axis is required. So that's why what I am doing is I am taking the square 4 rods I am taking. Okay, na? First of all I am calculating the moment of inertia passing through center of mass and perpendicular to the plane. Okay, na? So this is the axis perpendicular to board plane. So what is the moment of inertia about this rod? If I am calculating one rod, I can go for all 4 rods. So moment of inertia I center of mass is equal to M into L square by 12, and obviously this is L by 2. Then what is the moment of inertia about this axis? This axis I know ML square by 12. This axis I require. Then what is the moment of inertia of this rod is, which is ML square by 12 I center of mass. I am using the parallel axis theorem. Okay, na? Plus M into L by 2 whole square. Then moment of inertia is equal to ML square by 12 plus ML square by 4. Okay, this is the moment of inertia of one rod about axis passing through center of the frame and perpendicular to frame. So then moment of inertia I can write down this one is 3 times then 4 ml square by 12. You will get how much? ml square by 3. Hope my mathematics is correct. Please correct me if I went wrong. Okay. Multiply the 3 times 4. Yes, correct. ml square by 3 for one rod. So for entire frame, what is the moment of inertia? For frame, moment of inertia is equal to, obviously it is 4 times 4 ml square by 3. So I tell you why I am calculating this thing. So I know that if I am taking a square frame, this is the axis of rotation. This is the axis of rotation. Moment of inertia I got 4 ml square by 3. Now if I take perpendicular axis logic, I am taking, these are the two axes I am taking. This is the first axis, this is second axis. I can say that I1, I2 will be same only because of symmetry. I1, I2 will be same. I can use the perpendicular axis theorem logic. Then I1 plus I2 should be equal to I of frame, which is perpendicular. Remember, whenever you are using the perpendicular axis theorem, please add moment of inertia of the object about axis within the plane of the object should be equal to moment of inertia of the object about axis which is perpendicular to the frame. So I know it's a big statement, okay, so maybe confused. So the easy way is perpendicular is equal to sum of in the plane. Okay, so that is the way I am telling you, like what perpendicular axis, moment of inertia about perpendicular axis is equal to sum of moment of inertia in the plane. Always you have to add the moment of inertia about axis which are in the plane should be equated to the moment of inertia about axis which is perpendicular to plane. That is the logic of perpendicular axis theorem. Okay, here I1, I2 both are equal, so I can write down 2 I1. Okay, I1 is equal to I2 here. So 2 I1 is equal to I of frame, which is 4 ml square by 3. Then I1 is equal to 2 ml square by 3. But this is I1. But still we didn't reach to the question. What is the question? In the question, how the frame, this is the axis as given. This P1, P2 is the axis. Okay, let us see. If this is the frame, okay, na, how the P and P1 is, P1 and P2 axis something like this. Okay, na? This is the P2 and P1. So if this is the P2 and P1, we can draw one more axis perpendicular to that, which is P1 dash and P2 dash. So imagine like both are perpendicular. Still I can apply the perpendicular axis theorem now because both are symmetry, both form the symmetry only. However be the object about P1 dash P2 dash, same will be the object about the P1 and P2 also. So whatever be the moment of inertia you are getting here, you will get the same moment of inertia here, even same moment of inertia here also. There is one thing that is called as, if you take the planar object, okay, na, regular planar object, you take any axis passing through center of mass, within the plane will have the same moment of inertia. Okay, na? So please once go through the moment of inertia also, because moment of inertia also having the very good weightage in JEE Advanced. Okay, so what is the moment of inertia I can write down now? I is equal to 2 ml square by 3. So every axis in the plane of the object will have the same moment of inertia. I can use the same logic here. So 2 ml square by 3 into alpha is equal to I L square B into sine 60, which is root 3 by 2. So then alpha value is equal to I, L square cancel out. Okay, so there will be no L square term. So I into B root 3, even 3 times also there, 3 multiply, and you will get 4m. So hope I arrived at the answer. So I into B by 4m. So let us check what is the option is given. So 3 root 3 B I by 4m. 3 root 3 term is there. So A should be the answer. Hope you got the A also. Next they are asking the angular velocity when square rotated by 60 degree. Angular velocity when square rotated by 60 degree. Both are rotated by 60 degree. So what is the meaning of square is rotated by 60? See here initially plane of the loop and the magnetic field is differed by what angle? 30 angle. So if plane is rotated by further 60, then what is the angle? It will become 90, no? It will become 90. Okay. So what I do is I'll make one more statement here, right? I'll write down at time is equal to 0. What is the m bar and b bar are at an angle? Are at an angle how much? At an angle 60 degree. I'm talking about m bar. So plane is making an angle of 30 degree with the magnetic field. So after some time t, okay na, after some time t, so m bar and b bar are in the same direction. Why? Because are in the same direction because the loop is rotated further 90. So something like this. I will draw the diagram. This is the b bar, okay, and this is the plane. What is the angle between them is 30. 30 is the angle. Imagine this is the plane. Now plane is rotated further 60. Actually it has to be mentioned in the question, further 60, okay. So then how the plane would be now? The plane would be something like this. This is the plane. Now plane and magnetic field perpendicular. Then how the m bar is? M bar I am taking in this way because it is into the board only. You are getting something like this. See, curl your fingers along the current direction. You are getting into the board. So as it is into the board, I am taking in the direction of the magnetic field. Into the board, no? As it is into board, if you rotate, so it will be something like this. See, this is into the board. Pen is into the board. If I rotate 90, it will be in the same direction. So m bar and b bar will be in the same direction. So angle between them is 0. Finally. Now here one energy will be stored in this orientation. In this orientation, other energy will be stored. We can find out angular velocity. So what is the energy stored? Energy stored in dipole when it kept in uniform magnetic field is minus m bar dot b bar. Okay. So then change of energy will give you what? Change of energy will give you kinetic energy. Energy is conserved. If you rotate the loop, because of torque it will rotate. Because of torque it will rotate itself. Because of rotation energy value will change. So what is the kinetic energy? I can write down half I omega square is equal to final energy minus initial energy. So half I omega square is equal to, then what is the final energy? I can write down minus m into b cos 0 minus of minus m into b what do you say that sine, sorry, cos, no, dot product, cos 60. Okay, so half I omega square is equal to minus mb plus mb into 1 by 2. Okay, so actually I made a here mistake of a negative sign. Why? Because actually increase in kinetic energy is equal to decrease in potential energy. Okay, na? Increase in kinetic energy is equal to, actually we are finding the kinetic energy, no? And decrease of potential energy, that's why you have to keep minus. Initial value minus final value. Initial minus final will give you what? Increase in kinetic energy. So you will get one more minus, so minus, and this will be what? This will be plus, so minus, and this will be minus, and plus and minus. So ultimately you can go for kinetic energy, no? Positive value you can go directly. Okay, na? So but that's a blind thing. So try to understand this logic. So obviously mb by 2 you will get. So now write down all the values. 2 ml square by 3 into omega square, and m value is equal to I into L square into b by 2. L square will goes off. L square will cancel out. Even 2 also will cancel out. So then what you will get? You will get omega square. Omega square is equal to, now multiply the 3 times, 3IB, okay, 3IB by 2m. Okay, so omega is equal to under root 3IB by 2m. So this is the angular velocity I got. Just there is a some modification I have done here. Please check it. Please go through it again. Okay. So decrease of one energy will give you increase of other energy because loop itself is rotating in the magnetic field. So decrease of kinetic energy is, sorry, potential energy is equal to increase in kinetic energy. So 3IB by 2m we got. Yeah, 3IB by 2m, that is the angular velocity. That means C should be the answer. Hope your answers coincides with this. Okay, so let us see the next question. So now satellite is projected into space from a point P at a distance r0 from the center of the earth with initial velocity v0 as given. Okay. Now what is the total energy of the satellite? Let us see the total energy value at that place. Okay. So minus gmm by r0 is the potential energy, because satellite and earth center are separated by distance r0, minus gm1 m2 by r, that is the potential energy, plus kinetic energy is half m v0 square, because v0 is the velocity we are giving. So then total energy will become minus gmm by r0 plus half into m into v0 square, which is gm by r0, Okay na? So then total energy value is equal to minus G mm by R naught plus 2 G mm by 2 R naught. Will give you what? Minus 2G, minus G mm by 2 R naught. This is the total energy value. Okay, so this total energy value having some important logic. So let me see. Okay na? Elliptical orbits now. So if I go through the elliptical orbits, this is the you say that focus, okay na? And this is the semi minor axis, and this is semi major axis. Major axis and minor axis also you can write down, anyway, your choice. So this I am writing as what? This completely A, and this is B I am writing. Okay. If eccentricity of the elliptical orbit is E, then this value will become AE. AE is the value. Now we have one important logic of this elliptical orbit. Now let us see this distance value. What is this distance value is? Suppose this distance value I am taking as L. So then what is the L value I will get? So I will get like this: L square is equal to AE whole square plus B square. Am I right or not? So then L square is equal to AE whole square, means A square E square plus B square. So we know already eccentricity value is equal to E value we can write down. What is the E value is equal to? Under root 1 minus B square by A square. This most of people you know it already. So now I am calculating L square. So I know you will have a little confusion why I am calculating all these things, but I will explain. This is having a very good phenomenon. So then L square is equal to A square into E square, means 1 minus B square by A square plus B square again. So finally what is the L square I will get? L square I will get A square minus B square plus B square, that means A square only. So that means finally what is the L value is equal to? L value is equal to A. L value is equal to A. What is the meaning of A? Semi major axis. That means, see, in the entire path of ellipse, the satellite, you say planet, anything, okay, planet will be at a distance of semi major axis whenever they are extremes of semi minor axis. Are you getting this idea? Okay, so what I'm saying is, the particle, or you can say satellite, or you can say planet, okay, planet motion around the sun you can take, or satellite motion around the planet you can take, anything. Okay, the planet will be at a distance of what? Semi major axis whenever it is extremes of semi minor axis. Now what is the energy we are getting? We are getting the energy of minus G mm by 2 R naught. That means this is the total energy, that is the distance of the particle from the center is R naught. So this R naught will become what? Semi major axis. That is the thing we need to understand. Because if semi major axis is A, then what is the total energy value we can write down? The total energy value is equal to, we can write down that minus G mm by 2A at any place. But here total energy value we are getting how much? We are getting as total energy value itself is 2 R naught we are getting. 2 R naught we are getting. That means R naught is equal to semi major axis. So that means this is the semi major axis. Implies what? Implies this point is extreme of semi minor axis. So you will find somewhere other extreme of semi minor axis, then particle will go in a what path? Elliptical path, something like this. Okay, so this is the semi minor axis. So this is the distance of A. This obviously will be focus. So I hope all of you understood this part. Okay, so now what is this length value is equal? This length value is equal to AE. This value is A, okay, which is R naught. Now this is alpha. Then this should be perpendicular. See, if it is ellipse and this is a semi minor axis, same diagram you can take like this. Now object is having the velocity like this, V naught. V naught is tangential, no? That means definitely you should have perpendicular with the semi minor axis. Somewhere this is the focus. This length is how much? AE. And what this length is? A. And what is the angles now? Let us go with the angles. This will become what? 90 minus alpha. Okay. Then what is this angle will become? Alpha. That means what is this angle will become? Alpha. Okay. Then what I can write down? Sin alpha is equal to, I can write down that AE by E. then sin alpha is equal to AE by A, so sin alpha is equal to E, sin alpha value is given 37 in the question, so sin 37 is 3 by 5 is equal to E, that means E value is equal to 0.6, that is the eccentricity of the elliptical orbit. So this entire question is solved with the idea of what? This idea is important. Whenever particles, satellite or you can say planet is at extreme of semi-minor axis, then it is at a distance of semi-major axis from the focus. So please write down at one place or you remember, so that in the questions maybe this logic will help you a lot. So this is the next question, which is related to variable refractive index. So try for this question and come back for the solution. So in this question is given that hemisphere radius is a by 2, okay, and what is the refractive index is given is, refractive index is equal to, I am writing here, refractive index is a by a minus x, that is the refractive index as given. So now they are asking the equation of trajectory of the light ray in the hemisphere and x and y coordinates. Ultimately we are having the two questions, okay. So let us take the same diagram. Now mu value is equal to given by a minus x, that means mu value is function of x. As mu value is function of x, that means as the x value changes, mu value changes. Now entire sphere you can take it as a, what is that, something like this, variable refractive index, which are parallel to y-axis, boundaries parallel to y-axis. Here medium boundaries are parallel, that's why we can apply the Snell's law. So if I am taking any point inside, if I take any point inside here, suppose at some random place, then if I draw a tangent, that is the light ray, okay, passes through it, and what is the normal? So normal would be something this would be the normal, this is the normal at that point, some random point I am taking, okay na? So at this point what is the angle of incidence? Obviously this will become the angle of incidence, which is alpha. Alpha is the angle of incidence. Let me draw the other diagram, something like this. This is the incident ray. What angle? This angle is theta. Angle is theta. Now ray goes in this way. So now I am talking about x at this point, okay, which is some x comma y point, If I draw a tangent, tangent would be something in this way. This is a tangent, which is ray direction, ray incident direction. And what is the normal? Normal would be something this, because this is the boundary. This is the boundary which will separate the two mediums. So this would be the normal. Then this angle will be the what? Theta. That angle we are taking as alpha. I have taken here alpha. So if I am extending this tangent, then what angle it will make with the horizontal? Alpha only, na? It will make with the horizontal alpha only. So imagine like this. Okay, na? So this angle should be alpha. So hope you understood this. So then what is the slope value? Slope is equal to, what I can write down? Slope is equal to dy by dx, which is equal to tan alpha. That is the slope. It's a normal mathematics. Now we'll apply the Snell's law, because boundaries are parallel to each other, medium boundaries are. So if I am applying the Snell's law here, so 1 into sin theta is equal to, here some mu into sine of, what is the angle of incidence is alpha. Okay, na? Mu1 sine angle is equal to, in that medium, is equal to mu2 into sine angle. And theta value is given, what is the theta value? I think theta value is given 0, C1s. Theta value is given 0. Okay, na? Theta value 0 means with the normal, see this is the normal. Don't write 0 directly, okay? In the examination that will happen. You will write down the 0, then ultimately you are getting 0, so then you will stack it up. You will unnecessarily get into the frustration and you will spoil the other questions also. So your presence of mind will definitely change the answers and the way you are attempting the question paper also. Okay. So theta is 0 they have given. Theta value 0 means it is making 0 angle with the y. That means it is incidented. What is that? Sorry. Incidented what? Perpendicular to the normal. See, even I also drawn wrong. Okay. So theta value 0 means what? Theta value 0 is nothing but it is incidented along the y-axis, which is perpendicular to x-axis. So angle of incidence is 90, grazing angle. So sin 90 is equal to mu value. Mu value is equal to a by a minus x into sin alpha. So finally, what is the sin alpha value I get by using the Snell's law? It is a minus x by a. That is the sin alpha. But here we are having the tan alpha, because equation of the path we require. Whenever you are asked for equation of the path in variable refractive index, so go with the slope. dy by dx is equal to something you will get. So from that you can find out the equation of the path. Okay. So most chances are there. So tan alpha require, but sin alpha is there. So how to go for tan alpha? A minus x by root of a square minus of a minus x whole square. Opposite side by hypotenuse. I think no need to explain this part. So dy by dx is equal to, this is a minus x by root of a square goes off. Okay, na? So you will get 2ax minus x square. So this is the equation finally I got. Now we have to find out the y and x logic, y and x equation from this differential equation. So what is the value we got? Dy by dx is equal to, I think, a minus x by under root 2ax minus x square. I think we got. Yeah, perfect. So then dy is equal to a minus x by root of 2ax minus x square into dx. Now integrate. Okay, na? And this is 1 by 2 into 2 times. If you do, then directly exactly you will get the derivative. So now you can take 2ax minus x square is equal to something like t. Then 2a minus 2x is equal to dt into dx, dt by dx. Okay, na? So I can write down integral dy is equal to 1 by 2 into integral 2 into a minus x dx will be the dt by root t. Okay, so integral dy is y, you can write down 1 by 2 into, this is root t, integration is 2 root t raised to minus half. And then simply root t, then y is equal to root of t value. What is the t value we have taken? Root of 2ax minus x square is the equation of path. Okay, na? So the first option will be correct. So I have taken, actually I randomly I tick the answer here, but this answer is A only. Find out the coordinates of the point P. Point P is on the sphere. At the same time, point P is the part of trajectory also. Okay, na? So P is the common point for sphere and trajectory both. Okay, na? So that is the thing. As it is common point, it's a solution of these two equations. What is the trajectory equation I got? Y is equal to root of 2ax minus x square. This is the trajectory equation. What is that? Spherical, or you can say circle, hemisphere. No, it's a, if I'm drawing the one line in xy plane, I'll get a circle. So what is the circular equation is? Circular equation is equal to x square plus y square is equal to a by 2 whole square. A by 2 is the radius. So now P is the common point for both. It is on the trajectory, at the same time it is on the sphere also. So then I can write down from this, even this equation also you will get something like this, is equal to x. Now simplify both, then I'll get 2ax is equal to a by 2 whole square. Okay, na? So then x value is equal to a by 8. If x value is a by 8, what is the y value? X value is a by 8, y value is equal to, you can find out now. So x value is equal to a by 8. So a by 8 whole square plus y square is equal to a by 2 whole square. So now this is mathematics, I think you understood now. 64 plus y square is equal to a square by 4. Y square is equal to a square by 4 minus a square by 64. So 16, 15 you will get y square is equal to 15 a square by 64. That means y value is equal to root 15 a by 8. Okay, na? This is the y value and this is the x value. Let us see our answers matched or not. Yeah, a by 8 and a by root 15 a by 8. So these are the coordinates of what? X and y, of coordinates of P point, x and y values. Okay, so like this you can solve the questions if anything is appeared in the examination. Hope you enjoyed the video. So if so, please do like it. At the same time, please share with your friends and even juniors also, because the next generation has to get all these videos at the same time channel. So expecting a over that support from you people. Thank you so much, and we'll meet in the next video.